If you pitch movie ideas or have ever dreamed of getting your film concept out there, this was one of the most important weeks for you as an AI filmmaker. Let's get into our AI film news of the week. First off, I'd like to thank everyone that we met at the big AI film festival this week. We actually put together a Star Wars demo for that event, and it kind of went viral online. And we had a ton of questions, and so I want to address them really quickly in this video. So the first question is, what is the tool that we used for the lip sync? And the answer is we used Wave to Lip. We could have also used DID or Heygen. We just decided to test out Wave to Lip and got some interesting results. Number two, yes, it was created by a single person, me, in just a few hours. And I think it really illustrates the creative potential of using AI tools. And three, the project was created using Midjourney and Pika Labs. Pika has done a ton of really awesome innovations over the last few weeks, and we love what their team has been up to. And speaking of Pika Labs, last week we dropped a brand new tutorial showing how to get maximum cinematic quality from Pika Labs. It's really interesting, and it goes through the exact workflow that you can use to not only control the camera movements, but also get the most out of the creative direction inside of the tool. Runway announced that they are putting together an AI film competition that will be happening this week. You can click the link below this video to check out the details about their contest. And on that note, we are also hosting our own AI film competition at Curious Refuge. This competition is going to be Halloween themed, and so we can't wait to see all of the projects that you create. There's going to be a big cash prize, and of course, we'll feature the winners in the Curious Refuge community. And on Tuesday, we're also speaking at the virtual Outside the Frame event with Vimeo. Me and Shelby are both going to give a talk showcasing the latest AI tools, and we'll talk about a few creative ways in which you can use AI to create incredible projects. There's also going to be some Q&A time at the end, so if you want to ask me or Shelby a question related to AI filmmaking or the process of being creative as an AI artist, be sure to tune in and feel free to ask away. Elevenlabs also released a brand new feature that is an absolute game changer for turning your scripts into audio that you can listen to. Here's how it works. So what you need to do is go to the projects panel inside of Elevenlabs, and you can click create a new project. You can upload a document, but in this instance, I'm going to simply create an empty project and copy and paste a script inside. We'll call this demo project. And you can select your default voice for the script and select which language model you want to use. I'll use the Elevenlabs multilingual model number 2. And you can, of course, change the quality. We'll click create. So now I'm going to take the text from our script and simply paste it directly into their editor. Now, by default, that default voice is going to read the entire script, but it's really cool because we can change specific lines to be read by a completely different actor. So for example, when our subject Jane here has a line coming up, we can basically click on it, go over here to our paragraph settings, and change it to a different person. Now we can do the same thing for Mike. And of course, we can change the voice of the waiter. And again, we can just go in really quickly and select which person should be talking at which point in the script. And that's all there is to it. If you want to play back and hear what a specific line is going to sound like, you can simply select the line and click play at the top.
Mike, this is so romantic. You even remembered I love jazz.
Great, but if we wanted to rerun that read, we could simply hit the regenerate button and get a completely new result.
Mike, this is so romantic. You even remembered I love jazz.
Cool. And of course, you can adjust the voice settings and turn down the stability, turn up the similarity and things like that you may be used to when using Elevenlabs. So why is this important? Well, there's really no reason if you have a script and you're trying to get people to consume that script, there's no reason why you can't use this tool to literally create an audiobook version of your script that people can listen to and really get an idea of what the overall sound and story is for your film. Of course, it's a big problem getting people to consume scripts, especially in a crowded landscape. So this is really a way to elevate your story to get more people to consume it. So I want to preview our script here. So I'm going to click convert. And we will go ahead and hit convert one more time. Great, so now just go to versions and click play to listen to your script.
Title, The Perfect Setup. Into cozy candlelit restaurant. Night, soft jazz music plays in the background. Jane and Mike sit across from each other at a table set with a delicious looking meal. A waiter stands by with a bottle of champagne. Jane, tickly.
Mike, this is so romantic. You even remembered I love jazz.
Mike, grinning.
Well, anything for the most beautiful woman in the room.
Great, so of course you may want to rerun certain lines and really tighten it up, but really in the course of just a few hours, you could turn your script into an audio drama that people can listen to. The team at OpenAI also announced their latest Dall-E model, Dall-E 3. While this isn't quite available to the public just yet, this new text-to-image model looks incredible. Essentially, Dall-E 3 allows you to use ChatGPT to type in a prompt and see images in return. But the interesting thing is, it's actually really good at producing language as well. So no more alien symbols whenever you try to get text inside of your images. There have been a few comparisons of Dall-E 3 versus Midjourney online, and it seems like Midjourney's quality is still better than Dall-E. But the experience of using Dall-E directly inside of ChatGPT and being able to conversate with it like a human is really interesting, and we'll absolutely be exploring this tool as it's released in the coming weeks. Last week, we talked about Heygen's new Translate feature, and they announced that they also introduced Chinese and Japanese into their tool this week. I actually transformed my voice into Japanese earlier today. Let's listen to a preview.
了解。今週初めての AI 作品を作りたいと思っています。
What? Wow. This tool is absolutely incredible. It's amazing to see how accurate the lips are and the voice. It really has my vocal inflectuations and tonality in a really natural way. And the interesting thing is the uploaded video actually had music playing underneath it. So it even was able to extrapolate the voice that was kind of surrounded by music in the piece as well. It was really incredible, and this tool is really going to change the way in which media is dubbed moving forward in the future. The October session of our AI filmmaking course opens up on Tuesday, September 26th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. This session, we have even more videos and updated content using the latest tools and techniques available to you as AI filmmakers. There was also a new white paper published by the folks at Baidu that essentially was a prompt to video technology paper, which is interesting, but of course, we've seen innovations from Runway and from Pika, and so it almost feels like old news at this point. However, this one has some very interesting takeaways. The first thing is that it's using stable diffusion to allow people to simply type in some text and it generates an image and then generates the video from that reference image. So it just does a much better job at staying true to the original prompt rather than, when you're working inside of Runway or in Pika, sometimes you can get some wild results from the prompts that you simply type in. So it's really interesting and really stable. And they also have added in some tools to smooth out the video and to polish the overall result that you're getting. It's really incredible, and it seems like this type of technology might be used as the underlying framework for prompt to video tools moving forward. There was also another interesting paper from the folks at Google that essentially turns an image into a looping video. So it's really interesting. They have some examples over on their website of essentially some plants and some flowers that basically loop indefinitely rather than just kind of ending at a specific time. And they also introduced this idea of interactive dynamics. So they have a really fun demo that you can check out over on their website. Essentially, you can grab certain aspects of the frame and let go, and it kind of moves it around. It seems like from some of the warping that essentially what they're doing is taking a depth map and using some parallaxing techniques to allow the user to adjust the frame and the contents of the actual video itself. It's really interesting, and it might give us a little bit of insight into how we may interface with these AI video tools in the future whenever you're working in a high-end program, like let's say Adobe Premiere Pro and you want to specifically showcase how you want your movement to look in the scene, you might simply just grab a part of the frame and move it. It's very interesting. A team from China also introduced outpainting for video. So at first, this may seem like, no big deal. I've seen outpainting before, but this is a very big deal. Essentially, what you can do is take video and expand the frame, not just with still image borders, but with actual moving video that looks really realistic. So they have some great examples on their website of essentially a smaller rectangular video frame, and then they expanded it into a much larger video frame. And of course, you can see the potential for using this technology to change a 16:9 video into, let's say, a tall video for social media sharing, right? So it seems like there's some really interesting use cases that may come out of this technology. Now, you may have seen other features in the past that allow you to train a model on someone's face and then output imagery related to that trained model. It's been around for a little while now, but a team has actually put together a white paper showcasing how easy it will be to essentially assign a character's name and prompt with that specific character in mind. Why is that important? Well, essentially, one of the big problems whenever you're working with AI models right now is consistency of character. But if I could simply say, I want to see Caleb as an astronaut in space, and it renders an actual image that has my face on it, that makes it so much easier to create consistent imagery and consistent characters for telling larger stories. So this is a really big innovation, and I'm really curious to see how this evolves, not only from training models with your own data, but also with user-facing tools that allows you to upload an image and basically train it on, for example, you as the subject, and produce tons of images that reinforce you or your subject as the main character. Stable Diffusion also released a brand new tool called Stable Audio. Essentially, to use it, you just go to Stable Audio's website, click Generate Music, and you can type in a prompt. So for our prompt, I'm going to say upbeat, lo-fi, _, and we'll see what we get. Okay, let's listen to our result. Again, it's not my favorite song in the world, but you could simply regenerate a new track and find and custom tune a specific song for the specific video or film that you are working on. I also saw some interesting news that the artist Rafik Anadol is actually really enjoying using AI, not only on his projects, but he's very supportive of using AI to push human creativity forward. If you haven't seen his work, I highly recommend finding it inside of your area. He creates these incredible renders, and he recently actually installed an installation at that big sphere out in Las Vegas, and it used a ton of rendering power to pull it off. And he's clearly an artistic genius when it comes to generating an artistic result from data. And now it's time for our AI films of the week. So our first film comes from Alchemyst, who put together this AI short film that showcases a dystopian world. He used Midjourney and Pika Labs, and they did a really good job at curating this kind of Mad Max style world that, is overrun by these mechanized robots, and it has really good movement and visualization that kind of reminds me of some sort of like dusty version of Transformers. It's very cool. Jesse also put together an interesting film called The Illusion of Time. Essentially, the whole film uses clocks and just the idea of time to conceptualize a story in which people are interacting with not only the concept of time, but also contemplating life itself. There's a really interesting shot in here where the subject actually has a clock for an eye, and it looks really interesting. And the compositing work, I don't know if it was created by Midjourney alone or if there was a little bit of comp work that went into it, but it looks really, really interesting. And lastly, Elaine inside our AI filmmaking course put together an incredible project utilizing AI tools. It was one of the best examples of creative editing that I've seen up to this point, and the general pacing and vibe of the film really reminds me of there's an old video called The Watchtower of Turkey that just features really motivated actions and movements, and it really reminds me a lot of that piece, and she did an incredible job. So great job, Elaine. And our tip of the week comes from Ali Jules, who essentially said that you can use terms risograph, screen printing, letterpress, or lithography to get these really interesting kind of screen printing stamp aesthetics inside of your work inside of Midjourney. If any of you put together a video project using this aesthetic, be sure to send it over to me. I'm sure it would produce some really interesting results. I actually went into Midjourney earlier and prompted this lithograph of a Chihuahua that looks a lot like my dog, and I think that the result just looks amazing. And finally, the team at Quantilus put together a project that addresses the way in which AI will help us meet the global food crisis. AI is being used to not only grow new food, but also distribute food to places that need it most and cut down on food waste. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of AI Film News. Our course starts up soon, so if you want to learn how to create AI films for yourself, be sure to check it out over on our website at curiousrefuge.com. And of course, if you want to learn the latest techniques for AI film production, be sure to subscribe.